cussing out the government on there. This was a report that I got online. Just calm down. Any rate, let me just throw it at you. Here is my question for the American people, for Pittsburghers, which includes the American people. So from henceforth, I'm just going to say the American people. My fellow Americans, how do you personally feel about our government sacrificing our futures to give banks $9 to $17 trillion? To put that in perspective, the Iraq and Afghan war has a price tag of $3 trillion. So we're looking at almost 4 or more times the amount of money for that war. That is an amazing amount of money. Now, the first question that comes to mind is, where did the federal government, the Fed, get these trillions of dollars? I mean, we supposedly are in a deficit and debt of almost $14 trillion. So where did this extra $9 trillion come from? That's question one. So where did the money come from? Number two, I heard that the banks actually paid back all or most of this money. Okay, so then if the government now has that same $9 to $12 trillion that they gave out, why then is our deficit still, our debt still at $13 trillion? What happened to that $9 trillion? Why didn't they use that money to pay down our debt or supply the American people with things that we need? And that would have taken our debt possibly down to about $4 trillion, which would have gone into, if we got down to $4 trillion, that would have been the amount of our debt when President Bill Clinton was in office. You see, over the last 8, maybe 9 years, we've increased our deficit and our debt by almost $10 trillion. Bush himself added maybe, I don't know, $8 trillion. It was, well, actually, officially $4.9 trillion. But it ended up, now that Obama's in there altogether, we're up to about $14 trillion. So the obvious question is, if the banks gave you back the $9 trillion, American government, where did it go? First of all, where did it come from? Where did it go? Those are rhetorical questions. I'm not going to be able to provide you with that answer yet. I'm going to ask John and Kathy their opinions, and of course Annette. But before we get to that, we have to think about this. We just gave $9 trillion, $9 trillion to the banks, and the government wants to reduce and or cut Social Security, reduce and or cut spending for Medicare and Medicaid, reduce and or cut many important and vital American policies and what have you, and entitlements and what have you, and the budget, right? So they want to do all this cutting because we apparently are out of money. Okay, so we're out of money, America. Is it just me? Or if we're out of money, how in the bloody heck do we get another $9 trillion? So that's another question. We really need to think about that. But here's something else. Here's something that's frightening, my fellow Americans. Very, very, very frightening. The United States government and we as a people owe the Chinese government $1 trillion. So my question is, did the American government borrow money from China to give money to the banks to keep the banks from going under? And, you know, people say, well, we couldn't have the banks and the economy just go bust. Why not? Why couldn't we let them go? I don't see anybody helping me when my gas is shut off. I don't see anybody helping John when the buses are cut off. I don't see anybody helping Kathy pay her bills or Annette. So why in the heck are we helping Wall Street? Why in the heck are they more important than the human lives? Do you know that in this city of Pittsburgh, They will shut off your water if you are broke. It is appalling. Do you know that utilities will shut off your gas and electric if you can't afford to pay? And there are people who just don't have the money and they can't get it no matter what they do. And they will let you die. People die every day because they don't have the money. But our government's priorities is to give money to billionaires. I have a problem with that. And I'm going to say this on record. I like the president. But if this tax cut deal goes through, and it is going to go through because the Democrats, quite frankly, are being cowards. But if it does go through, there will be many more Democrats out of office, and the president probably won't be reelected. And it has nothing to do with me not wanting them to be in there, because I think they're the lesser of two evils, personally. But if you're going to compromise your soul and act the fool, why should I vote for you? But let's get back to the business at hand for a minute. We are facing dramatic cuts in the Port Authority. People are struggling to survive in Pittsburgh and throughout the United States nation. And yet the government finds $9 trillion to give to the banks. So I want every American to do something for me and for yourself. I can't give you the answer to these questions where the money came from. I don't know. Maybe John knows. I don't know. I don't know. Hold on. But I do know one thing. I know that we, the people, are the American government, even though we, the people, don't put our foot down. Well, it's time to put your foot down, America. It's time to call those numbers I always tell you to call, but you're like, oh, heck, I ain't calling that junk. Well, you need to call and ask, where did that $9 trillion come from, and why hasn't it been used to pay down the debt? And maybe, why hasn't some of that $9 trillion been used to make sure we have Social Security, we educate our children, and we have Medicare for our seniors and our veterans? I don't know. I mean, you had $9 trillion back, so why don't you use it for the people? So, America, if you are fired up, if you're ready to go, if you legally and peacefully want answers, you can't get them from Albert Torcaso. But you can get them by calling your congressman and your senator and your congresswoman. That's right, 1-202-224-3121 and 1-202-225-3121. Or if you just want to go online or use your iPhone, you can do this, www.senate.gov, www.house.gov. We need to ask those questions because we need to know. I mean, up to $17 trillion was spent for the banks. Oh, and I don't have in the documentation, I think somewhere in here, I'll have a net look, but the feds actually gave a couple of the banks at one time, a $2 to $3 trillion loan, just for one bank. Now, I could use a couple of $1 trillion myself. I don't know anybody on this panel that couldn't. But you know what? I'm going to just say this, America. You have a choice. I'm going to be blunt. You have a choice. You can allow your life to continue to be impoverished or not where you want your child to be. And you can sit at home and say, I can't do this, I'm too busy. And you can do that. And you cannot call Congress, and you cannot email, write, or fax Congress, or use petitions, or legally protest. You can do all that, and you can just ignore it. Or you can have a better life for yourself, a better life for every American, including me. And you can put your foot down even on the city of Pittsburgh. Say, no more shutting off people's water when they can't pay. Find a way to make a payment plan. And even if those people break the payment plan previously, instead of saying, well, you broke the payment plan, we're not going to let you do it again. Ask them why they broke it. If you don't have the money, Pittsburgh Water and Sewerage Authority, guess what? If you don't have the money, not even a magician can give it to you. Sometimes you don't have relatives that have money. You're broke. So How about it, Pittsburgh? Why don't you call City Council and the mayor of Pittsburgh and the Water and Sewerage Authority? And why don't you just say, you know what? Let's stop this cruelty to humanity. You know, let's put our foot down. But with the $9 trillion and getting things right, just call Congress at 1-202-224-3121 and 1-202-225-3121. We have a tape roll coming up. We're not going to move on that yet because we actually have some words we need to get from our next caller, and then from there, we're going straight to John, because I want to know if John knows where they got this $9 trillion to $17 trillion, or where that money went. I want to know where the money is. Show me the money. Show Albert Torcaso, Kathy Payer, John Robertson, and Annette Mendel, and all of you the money. And we can make them show us the money at 1-202-224-3121. If we don't do nothing, we need a slap in the face. Now, caller, you are on with Albert Torcaso, Kathy Payer, Annette Mendel, and John Robertson. You there, caller?
Hi.
How you doing?
Hi, Donna.
Sorry about
the
the loud.
guys? It's freezing out there. You crazy?
It's freezing in here, too. We don't want to go there. Hey, forget about it.
Okay. Somebody forgot to pay the heat bill?
We won't discuss that. We won't discuss that on live TV, but go ahead and do the hellos and yo-yos and my goes.
Okay, hello to everybody. Hello to Mark and the crew at McDonald's in North Versailles.
Go ahead, McDonald.
Happy birthday to Jason Heiss.
Happy birthday.
Brianna Heiss. Happy birthday to John Fernstein, Zach Fernstein, Mr. Fernstein, and who else? Oh,
I don't know.
Desi Rose Mazurek, Caitlin Mazurek, and Jeannie Fannin from Munhall. And hello to Nick.
Munhall Jeannie, how you doing? Wait a minute, excuse me for a minute. I'll let you say the rest of your hellos, but I got to just do that. Munhall Jeannie, how's it going there? How you doing? All right, back to you, Donna.
Hello to Tommy and Nikki Coles, Ron and Ben, and Frank.
How you doing, Ben?
Sloppy Joes and French fries for dinner tonight.
Sounds good.
All right, sloppy joes and French fries. And I want those special home fries tonight.
Do you have buns?
Don't ask them questions like that on TV.
If you want fried potatoes, we don't have no potatoes.
Well, we'll go get some. Hey, we're on live TV here. Don't ask about fried potatoes on live TV.
Fine, I won't.
Oh, you're terrible.
One more thing. I cannot forget. This is important.
Okay.
If anybody's ever on a show, if
Yes.
they have candy, they put it inside the tablecloth, and now it was full of ants.
What are you telling the audience that for? I don't know.
I didn't do it.
Hey. All right, we're not going to talk about that on live TV. You're going to get me crucified here.
Well, it has to be said because people go on a show and have candy and all. If they don't want it, if they don't like it,
Well, I don't have candy.
They shouldn't have this stuff on the show.
Oh, you're bad. I know, you're right, but can we talk about that in private? I don't think the people in Pittsburgh and around the world want to know about that.
Oh, wow. They know everything else. They know what you're having for dinner for the next couple of days.
That's enough out of you. I'm going to give you a katandi da
You know that we say hi to Tommy and everybody in the whole damn world.
All right, that's enough out of you. I'll talk to you later tonight.
Merry Christmas to all and have a happy, safe, and healthy New Year.
All right, good night. God bless you. I'll see you tonight.
You too. And Freedom says hi and Dakota said hi.
And what about Sage, Tassie, and Mohegan? Thank you very much.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye.
Keep warm.
All right. Back to the serious, tough guy
That's
and
our
tough
Donna.
girls portion of the show. Now, okay, excuse me, Annette, but I got to get down to the business at hand.
That's our
Before I
Donna.
go into that with John, I want to really, if we can, get the tight shot on this book, and I'm not advertising it. You probably can't see it. It's Kevin Trudeau's Free Money They Don't Want You to Know About. This book even speaks about how our government gives billions of dollars every year to corporations and banks, believe it or not. And it talks about how the credit card companies want you to get as many credit cards as you can and stay in as much debt as you can. And it talks and exposes so many things. But it also tells you how you may be able to get free money and how you can actually get money back or pay less on your mortgage over the course of a couple of years. So I'm not going to tell you to go out and get that book, because that'd be advertisement. But I will say this, America. There is knowledge in there that they don't want you to know about because they want us, most people, to be poor. They don't want you to know about. Kevin Trudeau wants you to know about. Yeah, he sells books. I ain't going to lie. But that doesn't matter. The fact is the information can set you free. The information can get your child educated. The information can help you. It's about the information. The information is power. Now, I'm going to hand this book to Annette. And a little bit later, if we have time, we're going to go have her read just one page out of there. And we're going to maybe start a segment like a book club similar to Oprah. But I got to get certain permissions that I don't have the money to get the permissions. I'm going to see. But we're